When Jaguar suggested that we be among the first to drive this R model, well, what did you think we were gonna do? There's 510 horsepower on tap here, and it feels like it. We don't expect it to be an athlete like a Porsche 911. The way it's behaving is more like a gentleman's carriage for somebody who wants to go from, say, Stuttgart to Berlin very quickly. I'm afraid that a car this good is pretty much wasted on our roads, but it's nice to know what it's capable of. Paddle shifters work brilliantly. The fit and finish is absolutely superb. I particularly like the stitching. But where it really stands out is when you give it its head and let it stretch its legs. Boy, it gets going, and it gets going in a hurry. And do you want to spray the back end around in a car like this? No. You didn't want to do anything that would make it look undignified. The power is a supercharged V8, but they've done it in such a civilized way. Dignified, very much like the overall demeanor of this Jaguar. Now, if you're going to drive a car like this, the last thing you want is distraction. Let's talk about texting. Easily the #1 distraction for drivers these days. The government of Virginia commissioned a study with Virginia Tech. They found out that some of their test subjects looked away from the road for as long as 5 seconds while they were texting. Now, at 55 miles an hour, that's not just a football field. You could blow through the whole stadium. Listen to this story. Tow truck driver already has a car and a motorcycle on back. Heavily rear ends a lady and her daughter in the car. They both get airlifted to hospital. Their cars are right off. And the tow truck driver himself careens off and lands in somebody's swimming pool. What a moron. Do you know what he was doing at the time? He was texting and talking on the phone simultaneously. I didn't even know that was possible. Let's face it, texting is a distraction that nobody ought to have while they're driving. But doesn't it just make common sense? Don't we already know this? Do we have to have laws that say don't text while driving? So, at the end of the day, this is a very remarkable automobile. And the last thing I wanted to have while I was driving it was distractions. In fact, when it comes to your cell phone, here's the best thing you can do with it if you really want to enjoy a real drive.